Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 945, we're going to talk about Migloz the Maze Crusher. This is the oil counter deck that they wanted us to build. But before we get into that, we are going to give a shout out to the patrons. Thank y'all for subscribing. You make the whole thing possible. And our good buddies over here at Dragon Shield. This deck is in Lime Matte Dragon Shield, so if you are looking for Dragon Shields, you can head to your friendly local game store. If you do not have one in your area, then it's just galactically a short drive from anywhere to Kenneth's Collectible Games in Jackson, Tennessee. You know a guy there. Anyway, Migloz, legendary Phyrexian beast. He enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters on him. Okay. And then he has the 1, 2, 3 abilities. Okay. 1, remove an oil. He gains Vigilance and Menace. 2, remove 2 oil. Gains +2/+2 until end of turn. 3, remove 3 oil. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So this, okay, I'll be honest with you. 95% of this deck is straight out of All Will Be One. Anything in red or green or artifact that I had that had oil counter on it, that's what I did. Now, that being said, we're in red green, so let's look at our ramp, shall we? We have the usual suspects here for red and green. We have a Soul Ring, Talisman of Impulse, Moss Diamond, Mind Stone, Rampant Growth, Spectral Searchlight, Phyrexian Atlas. I'm kind of digging this in decks that have the ability to deliver poison. Darksteel Ingot. Darksteel Ingot may be a weak spot. I should take that out. I toyed a little before I settled on the oil counter theme. I toyed a little bit with a different theme that Darksteel Ingot was a part of. But anyway, Cultivate, a rampant growth on wheels, literally, because he's on a bike. That's what I'm talking about. Atlant Jackal deals combat damage to a player. You get a free rampant growth. So that's not bad for a 2/2 trample haste for 3. Because let's face it, I feel like I'm getting a 2/2 trample hasting creature for 1 red. If I can make contact with it, that is. Then, of course, I have Mana Geyser. Mana Geyser's in there not because things are expensive, but because I do have a few X spells and mana dumps that Mana Geyser would love to be a part of. Card draw, Thrill of Possibility, Harmonize, and I know Itali is not card draw. However, it kind of is. I mean, it's free spell, so it gives you card advantage. Now, let's look at the other stuff here before we get into the oil counter things. Because once I get into the oil counters, I'm not going to read them all. There's a bunch of them. Noxious Revival. I like this. You know, just it can be just 2 life if you need it to be. Tyvar Stand. Here's the next spell. Target creature you control gains +X/+X, hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Now, this is also a don't you dare kill my dude. Because you can just spend a single green mana on it. Make X equals 0. Target creature gets +0/+0, but it gains hexproof and indestructible as a panic button, pretty much. Seize the Spotlight. Fame or Fortune, each opponent chooses. For each player who chose Fame, you gain control of a creature that player controls. Untap. Now you get to choose, and you draw a card, create treasure. So this is kind of one of those, you know, it's red, so they had to factor in something for red card draw. This probably should have been in the card draw section. Titania's Command, I just love this. 2 1/1 counters on your team, 2 bears, 2 rampant growths. Yeah, it's wild. And then, of course, our Green Sun Twilight. Now, let's look at our proliferate category before we get to our oil counter category. Yes, I have the Contagion clasp. I did not have another version, another copy of the elf that landfall proliferate. That would be in here too, but I didn't. Volt charge. 3 damage to a target, proliferate. Thirsting roots. Just 1 mana proliferate. Yeah, you can use it for the other, but I really like the 1 mana proliferate deal. Copper long legs, you can sack to proliferate, and it's a reacher while it's out there, right? Unnatural restoration, which is not quite a regrowth because you got to get a permanent card, but then you get to proliferate. Carnivorous canopy, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. If it was a little one, you proliferate. Expand the sphere. I did proliferation mainly because I thought, well, oil counters. Everything that uses oil counters is from this set. So, what do they call that parasitic design? I don't know. Not a card designer. Don't want that job. But here it is. Proliferate. And then all will be one. Yeah, I mean, I like this card. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, all will be one deals that much damage to target opponent creature or an opponent controls or planeswalker. Yeah, so all will be one can deal some serious damage in a counter deck, which is what I believe this one is going to be because it's oil counters. I do have one planeswalker, Zerial, mainly because I like that Relentless Assault emblem. Seems pretty sweet. So I got 2 classes of oil counters. We got creatures with oil counters and other things that deal with oil counters. So let's show some dudes. How about that? We have a Furnace Strider. 4/5. It comes in with 2. Remove 1. Yeah, you get the idea. Lattice Blade Mantis comes in with 2. Evolve Spinoderm. This is an old play off of cards that were, what was that, Blastoderm from years ago. Had, it's pretty much this set's Blastoderm. Urbras Anointer. And how do y'all feel about the little symbol thingies? I've heard you can rub those off. I mean, I put them in double sleeves. It's neat. It's in flavor. They straight up stole it from another game, but hey, that's fine. But anyway, Urbras Annoyer. Acreplate Golem. Now, I like this one. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has 1 or more oil counters on it, it gets another oil counter. And then it's, creatures you control with oil get +1/+1. I want to make little, small, Pennzoil tokens, I think that would be cool. Uh, Magmatic Sprinter. Enters with 2. Forge Hammer Centurion. Another artifact, another creature or artifact is put into a graveyard. Put an oil counter on this. Yeah. Kuldotha Cackler. Attracts a Skitterfang. Predation Steward. Axiom Engraver. Armored Scrap Gorger. Evolving Adaptive. I told you I was going to roll through these. Vindictive Flamestoker. Exuberant Fusiling. Rustvine Cultivator. And Sawblade Scamp. Those are all the creatures in All Will Be One that have something to do with oil, right? As you can tell, I wasn't really I haven't played this deck. I don't know how this deck's going to play. It seems very fiddly, you know, moving counters and doing stuff. I don't know. It may be busted. Who knows? Now we have things that deal with poison counters. The churning reservoir puts one on your upkeep, free from flesh. This is not bad. It's a little +2/+2 giant growth thing, but the creature also gets 2 oil counters on it. The Furnace Skull Bomb, 2 oil counters on something. The Incubation Sac. Urbrass Forge. Now this is yeah, this is kind of a big deal because it keeps growing and you keep getting Tablet of Completion, and lastly the Filigree Silex. 10 damage to any target. That's the thing that a lot of people forget about. So let's look at our removal, shall we? We have Nature's Claim, Chain Lightning. I know Lightning Bolt is better, but to be honest with you, I was so stoked that we got a Chain Lightning reprint. I was like, why not? And it's not like we're trying to optimize the oil deck, right? Return to Nature, Canker Bloom. Here again, that could be proliferating. Tribute to the Wild, Hazardous Blast. I really kind of like this. The big thing here is 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Yeah, that shuts down a lot of stuff. Uh, um, uh, a lot. Elves, goblins, squirrels, whatever. But the big part is creatures your opponents control can't block this turn. That's beautiful. A gorgeous Decimate. And then a Rolling Earthquake. Because I like Rolling Earthquake just because of the minutia of it hits flyers. It's not supposed to. It wasn't designed to. But in the set where it came out in Portal 3 Kingdoms, there were no flyers. It was horsemanship. So they made an earthquake-ish type card, and only us commander folks kind of exploit that difference. So here's our non-basic lands. We have Demolition Field, Slippery Karst, the Anonymous Furnace, the Hunter Maze, Carplusian Forest, Cinderglade, Rootbound Crag, Gruul Turf, Terramorphic Expanse, Thriving Grove, Evolving Wilds, Temple of Abandon, the Monumental Facade, and lastly, the Rugged Highlands. And that is the deck. I do appreciate y'all so much for watching. Like and subscribe. And if you hadn't subscribed yet, do it down below. And stop by anytime and see me here at the shop. But until then, we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.